Our SL55 arrived with the European license plates still in place. That was just one reason why so many other drivers were curious about it. And we were pretty eager to be the first ones to track test it. After 1,000 miles on California roads and a pretty good review from the likes of Mario Andretti, we knew the SL55 AMG could make impressive test numbers, and we weren't disappointed. At full throttle, this sleeper sounds like the devil gargling methanol. It's so unexpected from a Mercedes. We clocked 0 to 60 in just 4.39 seconds. The quarter mile, 12.55 seconds at 116 miles an hour. This is a luxury GT on street tires, not a muscle car on drag slicks. And this is transport for just 2 people that weighs well over 2 tons. Not only does it out-accelerate just about every other factory car on the road, the SL55's new electro-hydraulic brake system stopped it from 60 miles an hour in just 117 feet. That beat a BMW Z8 we tested the same day. The SL55's active body control system minimizes roll without making the handling feel artificial. It carved through the slalom cones at just under 67 miles an hour. This hefty drop top is right in step with some of the best handling cars we've tested. Of course, a top-of-the-line Mercedes like this isn't just about performance. Style and comfort are a given, and the SL55 has plenty of both. Front, side, and rear. The new SL is modern and classic. AMG adds subtle body trim, badging, and wider-than-stock 18-inch alloys. And the retractable hardtop is a great piece of engineering.
One thing that really impresses us about the new SL is the retractable hardtop. With this aluminum roof panel and glass rear window in place, it looks like a closed coupe. But watch this disappearing act. And the whole thing takes just a little over 10 seconds. Now you might think with the top retracted it would hamper the usability of the trunk, but the Mercedes engineers have seen to that. They've included a nifty little access feature like this that allows you to get into the trunk and retrieve your belongings while the top's retracted. And believe it or not, there's even more trunk under here.
Inside, the already well-crafted SL cockpit is upgraded to elite AMG status.
The interior in an SL-class Mercedes is a very nice place to be, but the SL55 AMG takes everything up a notch with some very nice, subtle touches. Alcantara suede on the instrument panel surround, special stitched seams on the dashboard and the center console, and these AMG spec seats have significantly increased side bolstering and a special perforated leather pattern.
The SL55 takes all the Mercedes engineering, refinement, and styling that make the new SL500 such an appealing roadster and adds an uncharacteristic feature: Viper-like brute force power. The SL55 AMG is a supercar you can drive every day. Simply put, it's the new king of front-engine luxury roadsters. MotorTrend Television will be right back. Most assignments at MotorTrend are great. Some are greater. Recently, I drove from LA to Napa Valley, California in the most powerful factory Mercedes on this continent to meet Mario Andretti and have him test drive the car for us. Sure, tough job, but somebody had to do it. Mercedes-Benz SLs have always been elegant and sporty two-seaters, but with few exceptions, they've seldom been truly exciting performers. The all-new 2003 SL55 AMG changes all that. The cost of admission is steep, but for about $140,000, give or take a few thousand, you get a car that packs some serious heat. A 5.5-liter supercharged intercooled V8 flexing 469 horsepower in European trim. That's 167 more horses than in the standard SL500. It gets better By the time US spec SL55s reach the States, they'll be rated at 493 horsepower. This potent mill is backed by a 5-speed automatic with a bimodal touch shift function. You can choose gears sequentially with the shifter or with small paddles on the back side of the steering wheel. This much power and finesse at my fingertips made a cruise up California's scenic coast a trip that'll be a tough one to top. While this dream drive was filling my senses, I was also contemplating meeting the legendary Mario Andretti. Arguably the greatest professional driver of all time, he'd no doubt have a pointer or two about evaluating a performance car. Andretti's racing career spanned 5 decades, and he won nearly every race or title there is to win. Early on in 1969, he came in first in the Indy 500, driving car number 2. By that time, Andretti was already a Daytona 500 winner and went on to earn 4 CART USAC titles. He ranked second on the CART USAC all-time win list and captured the Formula One World Championship in 1978. Add to that too many sprint and midget car victories to list, plus countless pole positions and lap records in Can-Am, Formula 5000, and IROC. Mario Andretti retired from racing, but he hasn't slowed down. We met at one of his new ventures, the Napa Valley winery that bears his name. First, I wanted to know what motivated his stellar driving career.
The reason I kept being attracted to it year after year is really purely the challenge. There's so much to do to really be able to do it right and to do it better than the next guy, that it's just a continuous labor of love and experience and experimenting.
So after many years spent at record speeds, what attracted him to Napa and the slow art of winemaking?
In Montona, where I was born, which is right in the middle of the Istrian Peninsula, there was a tremendous amount of vineyards that was planted, and my dad owned a great part of all of that, actually. I've been coming to Napa Valley since the mid-'70s, I would say. This was the perfect trip for me after a long season of racing. We made a lot of friends here, and of course I learned to really appreciate the great wines that come from this area. And we started looking around and found this property where we are.
Naturally, his 50-acre winery is modeled after a Tuscan villa. Since 1996, he's taken as much pride in what bottles as he took in his driving.
My big and I go to a wine tasting, and I see how the wines are received. You know, I get the smiles back and so on and so forth.
I had endless questions, but I reminded myself that I was here to see if the Mercedes would put a smile on his face. So Andretti, whose very name is synonymous with masterful driving, put this new German brute through its paces on the back roads of Napa. Back at the winery, we sat down for a little shop talk.
As you can see, I'm smiling. The SL55 is an awesome piece of technology. The car is not nimble. The SL55 it's a solid car. You do feel the weight, but again, everything else goes with it. You know, the stability, the precision, great braking. It's all there, though. It's not a as I say, it's not an all-out sports car, of course. That's not what it's meant to be. But it's probably as close as you want to be in having all the other amenities. The thing about it is the torque just carries you. I mean, the engine it's got legs. I mean, it wants to go. I think any experienced Mercedes owner will just be totally elated over the car, and the first time the Mercedes owner would just foam at the mouth.
Not a bad review from a driver who spent 40 years setting up, shaking down, and squeezing speed out of race cars. All that was left was to put his driving impressions against the clock. The serenity of Napa and my audience with a living legend was behind me, but the return cruise in this fantasy convertible was fair consolation. Instrumented testing was next, and it's coming up on MotorTrend Television.
Hi, my name is